Welcome, my amazing viewers. Thank you so much for joining me on my program once again. I appreciate you wherever you are connecting from around the world. If you're joining me from Africa, from Asia, from Europe, from America, or from Australia, I thank you very much for your contributions on the channel. Please always go to the comment section, add your comments, say it the way you feel it, make your contributions. Whatever is your observation, put it down at the comment section. It's all welcome. I go through the comments at all time, and I must tell you, I appreciate all your comments on the comment section. It encourages me, and I learn a lot from the comment section. That is the only way I grow. That is the only way I can be able to relate to you and know what you're feeling and how you are getting the information. Please comment and also share the video with everybody that needs to hear our voice. Share the video in any platform where you belong. Share the video with your family and friends so that they can know what is going on in that contraption called Nigeria. As you all know, the international media and the conventional media in Nigeria are telling a false story against us, and we cannot allow their story to fly. That is why we have to counter every false story that comes out, every false news that comes out from them. We will counter it and say it the way it is. We are not trying to be politically correct in any way. We are not trying to abuse anybody or insult anybody. Neither are we talking down on anybody. We are not attacking any particular tribe. We are not attacking any religion. But we are saying it the way it is. If you do bad, we call it out. If you do good, we call it out. Regardless whom you are, regardless your tribe, your religion, or where you belong, we call it out. That is what we do. That is what we do, and that is what our supreme leader, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, has been doing. Once you go wrong, he calls you out. That is why I love him so much. I love him so much. He doesn't have a special friend. If you are his blood brother and you mess up, he comes online and trash you. That is it. He speaks the truth at all time, as white as snow. And that is the step we are following. Saying it the way it is at all time. As you all know, the government of Nigeria, as you all know, the Janjaweed government in Nigeria is a terrorist government. Proven by all means possible. It has been proved that the government we have in Nigeria is a terrorist government. They lie, they terrorize people, they do all manner of evil. You can see the way they are holding their media. The media cannot even speak on their own voice. They are now propagating a lie of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu jumping bail, which is false. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu never jumped bail. They came to his house to kill him. He escaped from them. They killed 28 people in his house, killed Jack the dog. And Mazi Nnamdi Kanu was lucky by the special grace of Chukwu to succeed. They didn't take his life. And then he went to safety. Not until now, they went again to abduct him through extraordinary rendition and brought him to Nigeria. Extraordinary rendition. That was what happened to Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. And we say no to that. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is 100% innocent. They said he is incited. He never incited anybody. All he was doing on social media was to reveal the truth and nothing but the truth. The contraption called Nigeria is a lying government, the government of the liars. You can see what they are doing, terrorizing everybody. The same style of what they did with Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is what they are doing to Igboho now. They have gone to the home of Igboho to rain terror, kill people. They even in Igboho's house, they abducted a cat. Just like in the home of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, they killed the dog. In Igboho's house, they abducted the cat, and they have not given us the account of the cat. What happened to the cat? They abducted a cat. Maybe their native doctor told them that that cat was Igboho. Who knows? Maybe the native doctor revealed to them that that cat is one of the people who are protecting Igboho. They took the cat along with them. Maybe you will think I'm lying. Watch the video.
Engage in activities that could overwhelm the state. But what are the relevant questions in this regard? One dimension of the story is that even cats were arrested from Sunday Igboho's house because those cats were considered suspicious, and that they could be part of the separatist secessionist agenda. And I was wondering why the Nigerian state will not just arrest human beings, but will also arrest cats. Now, the Department of State Services,
good dimension to that.
The Department of State has not accounted for those cats in the report that was given by Dr. Afunaya. And then what was all that drama about the destruction of property? Is that part of the mandate of the state? I know they can hide under the fact that there was a shootout, but the other camp, the Sunday Igboho camp, is presenting that as a deliberate attempt, not just to apprehend but also to destroy this place. What do you think of that Gestapo style that was adopted?
Ruben, you see,
it's really laughable. It's really laughable, the kind of people you have in power, the kind of government Nigeria is running. Terrorizing everybody. you can see the way they are lying against Igboho. The same way they are telling Mazi Nanika that he jumped bail, which he never jumped. Now they did not issue any warrant arrest on Igboho. They did not invite Igboho. They didn't invite Igboho to any station. They never accused him for anything. All they went into his house all of a sudden without any invitation was to kill him. And then when they could not be able to kill him, now they declare him wanted. How does that work? Now they declare him wanted. This is how they demonize people. They now send him and declare him wanted. And now their media is helping them to promote their own side of the story as Igboho being somebody who is running away from the authorities. They are now using their media now to push that very news, which is false. Which is false. Igboho killed nobody. Neither did Igboho attack anybody. All he was saying is that live and let's live. Do not attack my people. His challenge was against the fulanization who were killing the innocent people in the bushes and raping people and stopping farmers from farming. And there was no picture or video where Igboho killed even the terrorists. He only spoke his mind and told them to walk out. Now they came to kill Igboho. Nobody now can speak in that very country called Nigeria. If you speak, you are dead. That is why so many people in that country called Nigeria are scared and cowards. The only brave people we have, they are trying by all means possible to eliminate them. Thank God for the Odudua group. They cannot be cowed out. Oduduans are not cowards. They are not cowards. Even when Igboho was on pressure, they tried to kill him to make sure that the rally of Odudua held in Lagos. It was held and people came out in number. For those who have not watched the video of the rally, watch the video.
So they see more and more dignitaries at the top. See they come the venue of the Yoruba Nation protest and rally. Some of them don't tell us, say, no be protest, they come to do rally, peaceful rally. A while ago, police used fake pursuit. Some of the people will be come here to hold the peaceful rally. But after that incident, more and more people now don't turn up from Jota where we did. now they protest over how they go for the place where police then they work how they go where police they. We are peaceful people and we are ready to cooperate with the police. We need you to protect us. It will be a very peaceful rally. There's no need to shoot tear gas. There's no need to shoot a gun. We are people of peace.
What's your name,
That's
sir?
why don't run from us. We do not run from you. But let us cooperate together to make this a successful rally. Please, we don't have anything against the police. The police are our people. We don't have anything against the army. The army are our people. But we need to cooperate together so that you know you should not attack us. You are not the enemy. We want to move to that place. And we need you to protect us. We are peaceful people. What we want
make to discuss anything if they are requesting that the police actually guide them so that one that they want to have does not go fly.
They move to that street and do the rally there so that the road will be free.
You don't have the right to do that. See, look at the camera.
The government of Nigeria is a government that wants to kill his own people. They do not want to listen. They do not want to negotiate. The only language they understand is the language of killing. Just like Buhari said in his interview. The so-called Buhari, the man wearing with the mask, who is claiming to be Buhari. In the interview they gave him, he said it, the language that they understand. The language for them, they understand the language of taking life of people, killing people indiscriminately. And you are silent watching. You are silent watching. You are not saying anything. Well, wait until you come to your doorstep. I would like to share with you a video of an interview that was granted to someone in channel television. A man that made some senses in what he was saying. Listen to the interview, watch it closely, and see every information that is coming out from there, and be observant in whatever they say, because we don't trust channel television, but sometimes people that come there make sense. So whenever they talk, we pick the senses they are making in whatever they are saying, then we can use it on our programs. Let us watch channel television, what they have to say.
Advocate, for joining us tonight. And let's begin by getting to know, first and foremost, what happened in Sunday Igboho's residence relating to the raid by the DSS. Under the law, what is your assessment of the operation of the DSS at his residence in Ibadan?
Of the explanation by the DSS is that the raid gives room for doubts as to whether it was necessary or as to whether the DSS did not use excessive force. Now, if they got intelligence, how did they introduce themselves upon arrival? What were the rules of engagement employed by the DSS? And the way we talk about 2 persons gone down, 10 persons gone down in Nigeria, beginning to look as if life means nothing. And it has become a pattern that whenever security operatives go on such missions, many more persons are killed than are arrested. Where this one, only 2 persons were killed, but they are human beings, and we need to review the rules of engagement. And it's time we started advocating that operatives who embark on such missions wear body cams, so that we'll be able to have a view of the recordings of their body cams to actually know whether some of the stories they tell actually correlate with the facts or the reality. Now, when you talk about getting intelligence that the person is stockpiling arms, and the much that the DSS could show was 7 guns, one would have thought there was a whole lot of an armory in that home. That is not to say that possession of arms in the premises, if indeed the arms were there, is justifiable. But just to say that sometimes the Nigerian security agencies adopt a sledgehammer approach towards dealing with security challenges. And we don't seem to have learned much from history. We do not seem to have learned that the Boko Haram situation in Borno State started because the security agencies felt that it was a very good way of stopping Boko Haram was by killing Mohammed Yusuf, the leader. And now we seem to be headed in that same direction in handling the Sunday Igboho situation in the southwest. And I think the earlier the government rethinks its strategy and tries to find out the root causes why there are so many agitations by different groups or persons for a separate entity, the earlier we're able to address these challenges, the better for us. Adopting a jackboot approach to addressing these issues will not achieve anything. The earlier the government engage with these persons and not thinking that shooting people, raiding people's homes at night without people even knowing that whether the people knocking on their doors are criminals or anything, the earlier we rethink that strategy, the better for us. But I do not think that I find the operation by the DSS satisfactory in this circumstance. I think there's excessive use of force, and I think the security agencies may not have adopted the best internationally accepted standard in raiding that home at that time of the night and in their engagement with the occupants of the premises at that time of the day.
You will help us make sense, legally speaking, of course, of some of these issues, and perhaps my audience tonight will be able to get a sense of what happened and what the law says. So let's get it clearly. Does the DSS require a warrant to search or to carry that kind of operation on Sunday Igboho's house under the law?
They do. They do. They need to apply to a magistrate or to some superior police officer and there should be an affidavit stating the grounds for their belief that there is need to search that. And they execute that search warrant by informing the occupants of the house, showing them the search warrant, which will be the authority to enter upon their premises. In all the releases I have heard or read about, there has not been any mention made of any such authorization being obtained before the premises was searched. It would have been a different thing if, for example, the DSS people were stationed around his home or were passing by his home and they opened fire on them and there was need for them to engage them. But people were sleeping in the dead of night and the DSS arrived. No indication as to whether anybody introduced themselves. No indication as if anybody knew those who went to that premise. No indication that they were informed about the mission of the persons who came to the premises. All we heard that there was continued exchange of gunfire for about 1 hour before they now entered there. And the nature of casualties sustained or injury by the DSS also posed to question whether some of these stories are actually credible. He said only one of the operatives sustained a gunshot wound to the hand, and yet there was sustained gunshot for 1 hour, and 2 persons lay dead at the end of it. We need to actually have a review of such operations after they must have taken place. We need to insist that persons embarking on these operations wear body cam, like I said earlier. That is now the internationally accepted practice, especially where there has been loss of life. We need to also know whether the situation warrants the kind of force used in this circumstance, and whether this is also not an attempt, whether there is no correlation between this raid on that home and the planned rally in Lagos. We need to look at these 2 things.
So,
or maybe other things, rather.
Great, because one of the things that you said about wearing body cams, because there are laid down procedure, we've had this kind of conversations before when the DSS has explained that, especially because when it involves evidence being found in the process of a search, and what they find and all of that, and evidence that these things are not planted and were found there, and I know DSS might be able to explain that, but in the scenario which played out and which you have explained, what if it happens, maybe if it happens, the DSS says that they got an intelligence that there is a stockpile of arms. Could there be any premise under the law that gives the DSS an operational opportunity to do what they did without acquiring or requiring or going there without a warrant?
They said they got intelligence that there's arms were being stockpiled. If indeed they did that, and let's take for a moment, we don't doubt that they do. Before you storm such premises, you give the occupants an opportunity to surrender. You tell them your mission and give them an opportunity to surrender and allow you access into that. I have not heard that any of these things was done. If I take you back to the US, there was a time one David Koresh of the Davidian court that the alcohol, tobacco, and firearms, ATF, had to storm there. They waited, there was a siege for 53 days before they went into there. It's only in Nigeria you get intelligence, the next thing you go rampaging through that place like a bull in a China shop. And people are dead at the end of the day and questions are not asked. And stories are told against the dead that nobody is able to ask questions about. And bodies are displayed as if there's no dignity for either the living or the dead. I'm not saying the DSS, if they have credible intelligence, should not act on it. But my point is, there must be due process of law. We must do things in a civil way that ensures that we were able to gather enough evidence to show justification for the operation, and also giving those who are in that premise an opportunity either to give up or for there to be minimal loss of lives or minimal use of force. And I don't think that has been done in this circumstance.
The other side of the conversation tonight is also about the rally, the rights to protest, and what the police is saying in Lagos. The question now is that those kind of firearms that we saw displayed by the DSS, could there be any possibility under the law that these are acquired legally? Those kind of range of firearms based on the Firearms Act?
Well, I do not think the Firearms Act permits individuals to carry such arms. If for you to carry such arms, you need the approval from the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. I would like to believe that that may not have been given at this instance for purposes of argument. Now, the issue is that there are a lot of arms. There's a proliferation of small arms in circulation in Nigeria. The nature of our porous border, there's so many wars going on in many parts of Africa, make it easy for people to acquire these arms and transport them across transnational borders. But the point is, if there's intelligence that these things were actually in that house, there should have been better ways of getting them, and there should have also been better ways of dealing with this situation. And talking about the right to protest, it is a fundamental right of persons to protest. And unfortunately, in recent times in Nigeria, we have seen situations where people apparently are sponsored to disrupt peaceful demonstrations and turn them violent, thereby giving justification for security agencies to now clamp down on the protesters. We must find a balance. And the police must learn that and the security agencies must learn that when people plan to do a peaceful protest, especially an organization that has carried out peaceful protests in some times past without any resort to violence, the police should be there to protect them, to provide security for them, and not to disrupt them or stop them. It would appear that the aim in Lagos is to stop the entire demonstration. Now, if the police got intelligence that people are trying to cause violence, one would expect the police to target those trying to disrupt the planned peaceful protest and not to stop the peaceful protest itself. If they got intelligence, that intelligence should give them idea of those who are planning them, how they intend to operate, and give them adequate information to prepare to stop those who intend to make the demonstration violent from achieving their aim. But like I said, an argument will be demonstration, so that's clear.
Yeah, an argument will be that considering the history of what happened last year during the NSAS protests and police officers being killed and the police formations being touched and things that happened. But we're since being joined on the program also from our Abuja studio there, a retired Deputy Inspector General of Police, Abila Joshak. He was, before his retirement, the DIG in charge of operations. It's good to see you again, DIG, and thank you so much for joining us. Before I get you into the conversation about the rally in Lagos, because I know during your time, issues of protest also is a major issue. The issues of whether you have water cannons and tear gas to be able to manage protests when it gets out of hand. But for the raid that happened in Sunday Igboho's house in Ibadan, what is the operational procedure for carrying out that kind of raid by the DSS? Is a sister agency that you worked with when you were in service?
Yeah, thank you for having me. The action taken by any security operative or whoever that has been assigned, to tackle a challenge depends on the gravity of such a complaint. If what has been reported and what is about to happen is so magnanimous that in a magnitude that will disturb the peace of the state or some other citizens will really be hurt, then the security agencies have the right to break in and break out, to ensure that they contain the danger element, either human beings or materials or arms. They have the right to quickly go and break in and break out and ensure that the situation is being tackled and contained in order not to have the citizen harmed.
Is there any premise at all under the law operationally that allows security agencies to take action, to take that kind of operation without a warrant? I mean, does an emergency situation gives any security agency any premise to do that kind of, carry out that kind of operation?
It does. There is a provision or policy or some processes that allow the security agencies to ensure that if there's any element, like I said, a human, whether human or arms or whatever that is likely to disturb the peace of the nation and create problem or lead to death and what have you, it is allowed that be contend with. And that means that you don't need to go, that you want to go and take a search warrant or warrant of arrest before you come and tackle that situation. You contend with that situation, and thereafter you saw that. But the security agencies and other security around, or even civilians that have the opportunity to ensure that they contain or they prevent that happening, it's allowed.
Okay, let's take a breather. But when we come back after the break, we'll be looking at what is going to happen in Lagos tomorrow. The police have said, no, we don't want any rally to happen because of the possibility of violence in Lagos based on what has happened before. But the pro-Yoruba Nation group has said they will go on. They've pre-informed the police, written to the governor. Or how will this play out? The experts here on the program tonight will give us more insight to this. Plus, we'll dissect the PIB again with one of my guests in Maiduguri studio. Don't go anywhere. We have so much more to talk about. Thank you so much, everyone, for staying with us. Lagos residents are thinking about what could happen tomorrow. The police are saying, look, we got everything covered for you as much as you don't go out for these pro-Yoruba Nation protests by the group called the Ilano Omodua, and a group that Sunday Adeyemo, popularly called Sunday Igboho, also belong to. Don't forget that only yesterday that his house was raided by the DSS, and a lot of explanation is being made on what happened and what did not happen. So tonight we're giving you the legal and the security perspectives to this matter. I've got some very experienced experts in this area. A senior advocate of Nigeria, Afa Mosigwe, in our Abuja studio, and a retired Deputy Inspector General of Police in charge of operations while he was in service, Habila Joshak. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for your time tonight. Let me get back to Mr. Joshak on this matter. It's actually very interesting when you said security agencies can actually go without a warrant into any facility in Nigeria, be it home, be it anywhere. Is that in line with your operational procedure or under the Constitution that is covered?
Well, don't get me wrong. I said it depends on the gravity of the information that has been converted into intelligence, and it also depends on the assessment of the situation. If there's a situation that can consume a lot of lives and destruction of properties, and you now want to wait to go get some warrant to execute, then it would have been too late. And so, in practice, you have to first of all contend with that monster by preventing it to happen. And therefore, you don't have an excuse to say you cannot prevent an incident from happening as a security agency or even a citizen, and that the reasons are that you need a warrant to go execute. And that's why I'm saying in emergencies and when there are threat to lives and when it has been assessed that such action, if allowed to go on, that there are going to be a lot of loss, either humans and material, then you have to contend with that.
All right, so if my producer and from the control room, they could give us a split screen of the Sunday Igboho's resident as after the aftermath of that raid. I'd like Mr. Joshua Kabila to give us a sense of what could have happened. From your operational experience, 2 people were said to have been killed in that process. The DSS said there was a gun battle. What do you imagine could have gone wrong that perhaps had led to the death of this man? A DSS operative was also injured in the process.
Well, yeah, to insinuate and to assume would be very, very difficult. But I should think that if it is to prevent anything from happening, and if it's a dwelling house like this, and we're seeing this kind of a thing, it is either that more above maximum force was used, which is wrong, or that there were resistance, and so there were exchange of either shooting or attempting to effect arrest. And so I think that investigation will reveal it is possible that if there are maximum forces that are used beyond the expectation in order to quell a small thing, using a sledgehammer to kill a mosquito, then the law will take its course. But from what I've seen, it is either there were some resistance or it is that maximum force was used as against minimum force. That is a picture of what I can see.
If you can spend the next 60 seconds and walk us through the operational procedure. If you are to lead your men, for example, assuming when you were in service, walk us through how you engage when you are going for this kind of operation in a residential facility.
Well, like I said, it depends on exactly what the intelligence or the information were. It will be wrong for us to assume that there were excess use of force and threat to even the lives of those that are right in there. And at the same time, whether there were resistance, and the reason for entering there, maybe there were arms, and that the arms could be taken out, and that, there was some struggling. And like I said, it's not fair for now to speculate and to say this is this. But investigation will show exactly. It will bring out who is wrong. Because those who came in there, if they went in with the maximum force, then they will account for that. But if there were resistance that have led to a lot of things that I'm seeing bottles out and down, the law will also take its course.
So I wanted to ask, because sometimes you see some of these scenarios play out. I probably don't expect that the DSS would have gone knocking on the door to say, okay, open your door. We just wanted to come and check whether you have arms stockpiled or not. I probably would have imagined that if they want to get those evidence, they probably would have knocked the door down and enter because of what they said they have in their intelligence. But that's just left to imagination, like you said. But if you go into what is happening in Lagos, the police have said, do not go on the rally. But based on what the group has said, the lawyer has written to the police and to the governor, and they said that they have informed them of the rally and they need to be protected. What do you think could happen in this sense? The police said, do not protest. The protesters have said, we're going to come out a rally, we are protected under the law.
Well, there is a communication gap. I should think that if the police or any security agencies are saying that no, this can happen, then there must be a meeting point. I think also those who want to do that should be able to be patient enough to also cross-fertilize ideas to make sure that the police or the security agencies that are preventing them from coming out to exercise their rights should be able to convince them why they shouldn't go out. But if they are apart and those who want to go on protest are saying, we have that right constitutionally and we have to go out, they should be able to also listen to the security agencies who are saying this is why you shouldn't go out. And then there will be a meeting point. And right out there, if there's a disagreement, then we can now understand that each side wants to stand its own. But if there has been no communication and this has not been discussed, then it's quite bad. But the security or the security agencies have the responsibility of securing safety of peoples and the properties. And if they are saying something, I also think that the citizens should listen to them. If it does not make sense, that is when they can also say and go ahead to do what they want to do.
There is a footage that we were playing earlier. It does look like an anti-riot truck, like a water cannon truck that we saw. That's the police chief in Lagos. That's the truck there. If police are saying we do not want, then one could imagine that as soon as they see protesters tomorrow, there might be discharge of water cannon or tear gas. Could that be the case tomorrow, Mr. Joshak?
Yeah, I could see that those security agencies are trying to be very civil, and I think they've also has the handbook for securing a crowd control, because the water cannon, it's the water that is heated, and of course maybe with coloration to be able to press that on the people, and then maybe irritants, and also to let them also once it falls on your dress, they will be able to know that you were there, and then you'll be arrested. It's very, very harmless. And if that is what they are demonstrating, then it means that they are going to be very civil, and they are going to ensure that those who disobey the law should be able to they should be able to get them, but not to harm, and not to injure, and not to destroy. If that is that water cannon that I've seen.
So let me go back to State Advocate Alpha Mosigwe. So there is, in Nigerian law, the Constitution spells it out that the nation is indivisible that means that the conversation and the issue of self-determination, I'm not very sure that is captured in our constitution, but it's also, I'm very certain that it's captured in some international codes that guarantee the rights of people. It does look like what some of these groups are asking for is in line with self-determination. The secessionists, in some sense. How do you manage that? What does the law say about this kind of scenario under the present situation we have on our hands in Nigeria?
Now, thanks, Shehu. There's a difference between people agitating for a right to self-determination to being able to have some autonomy or independence from a nation. The Scots have been on the battle for independence from the United Kingdom. And so they have some degree of autonomy within the Union. And some persons in Nigeria are asking for self-determination, and many persons are not in agreement as to what the meaning of this is. So some call it true federalism. Some also speak about secession. But I think all these, whatever way they are carried out, are rights, universally recognized rights. But there's also a difference between agitating for self-determination and insurrection. That is where people take up arms to try to achieve that. I do not think we have got to that point. I said earlier that the government should be worried that these cries are gaining momentum and transcending more than one region. And the government should not, as was done by the president some days ago or some weeks ago, say that there is no going to be any restructuring. In other words, shutting out any possibility of any conversation. The government must realize that when there's a lot of discontentment in the policy, in the polity, the best way to address it is not by saying if you try it, we'll crush you. The best way to address it is not by wishing it away and saying that is not a subject for discussion. The government must sit down with the component units. Switzerland as a nation has survived because they have some form of confederation that allows the cantons or the federating units some degree of autonomy. If people feel that there's a lot of power given to the center in Nigeria and that if power is ceded more to the states or to the regions, that some of these issues will be addressed. These are things that call for people to sit down at a table and talk. Even though you have not asked me this question, but I think I should because it is somewhat related to it. The right of people to the protection and privacy of their home is guaranteed by the Constitution. It cannot be violated without due process of law. And where people want to demonstrate in furtherance of their quest for self-determination, and where they have not been shown to be armed or violent or trying to topple the government or trying to unleash mayhem or lead to breakdown of law and order, their right must be respected. If police has credible information or intelligence, as they say, that there is plan for some other group to foment violence, I think the best thing the police would have done, which is what I think the retired DIG meant by when he said there's communication gap, is to sit down with the organizers of the rally and show them some prima facie proof that there's such a plan afoot, and work out with them a way of organizing this demonstration as to minimize breakdown of law and violence or attack by these other persons. Or alternatively, convincing them with overwhelming evidence as to the danger in going ahead. But when the police first does show of force, which seems to be targeted at all demonstrators, whether peaceful or allegedly planning to be violent, and make statements which is prohibitive, emasculating the right of protest of individuals, it makes it doubtful as to whether that intelligence is not a convenient excuse to prevent a demonstration. But I think above all, we are getting to the point where unless we want to keep deceiving ourselves, if we don't handle these situations well, it will snowball and get out of hand. The government of the day must reassess its policy and its position on some of these issues. And whatever it takes to discuss these issues and address them, the government must be humble enough to do that. Otherwise, we are sitting on a keg of gunpowder.
So let me ask Mr. Joshak, because the police says that, look, there are elements that are possible to foment trouble. How do you, in this kind of scenario, this rally protest kind of scenario, how do you isolate these hoodlums, these elements that are destructive from the Nigerians who are planning a peaceful rally?
That is the point And that is the line to be drawn. It's quite very, very difficult for very, very law-abiding citizen who wants to come in and exercise their rights of protesting against a system, against a decision, against something that is up, to say this is not in our interest. Usually when those people with very good reason and convincing reason in the interest of the citizen and the country, you find out that suddenly this is hijacked. And so I think that there should be a meeting point between the security agencies and those organizers of the rally to be able to understand themselves and to be able to cross-fertilize ideas. And in order to save the lives of those of them who might not be part and get caught in that kind of situation. And so I think that, yes, the citizens have the right to protest. The Constitution guarantee people's movement and people's voicing out. And that also has to be taken into consideration, and the security agencies should weigh and ensure that they penetrate the organizers and get to a point where there is an agreement. Otherwise, the grass will suffer.
All right, let's close this segment of the conversation, and I would like us to do it in 30 seconds. I would like to put both of you on the spot. If you were in Lagos, you're supposed to be part of this protest, would you go out tomorrow, considering this sort of disagreement and the gap in the communication? Let me begin with Mr. Oshigwe. Would you go out tomorrow with this kind of gap if you were to be part of this protest? Would you?
If I was in Lagos and part of this protest, I would go out tomorrow, but I'll be wary that there may be plans to sponsor people to disrupt it.
Mr. Joshak, I mean, you have a security background. Would you go out? Because you've explained that there is a gap in communication.
Yeah, there's a gap in communication, and of course, people must go out to do whatever assignment they have, and people should go out, but the security agencies should also be very careful to protect the lives of those of them that want to go do what they think it's important.
Mr.
You can see that what we have in Nigeria is a lawless government. A government that don't care about the rule of law. They are not only violating their own law, they have gone to violate international laws this time, by going to abduct Mazi Nnamdi Kanu through extraordinary rendition. That was what happened to Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. And as Mazi Nnamdi Kanu have always been crying about black people, you can see Mazi Nnamdi Kanu have been traveling to all parts of America, all parts of Europe. He wasn't abducted. But when it comes to Nigeria, when it comes to Africa, when he visited Kenya, after having his meeting on his way going back, they now connive together. They connive together to go and abduct him and hand him over to Nigerian government. He arrived Kenya, and for him to arrive Kenya, Kenya know that he's there. After attending his meeting in Kenya, on his way going back, they waylaid him. They captured him, tortured him, then handed him over to the Nigerian government. And through extraordinary rendition, Nigerian government brought Mazi Nnamdi Kanu into Nigeria. This is a government that doesn't care about international law. It doesn't care about human rights. They don't care about you as a human. You think it's about Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. You think it's about the southeast. You think it's about southern part of Nigeria. They will come after you. More especially those of you who are from the southern part of Nigeria and you are silent. They attack Mazi Nnamdi Kanu house. You are silent. They abducted Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. You are silent. They attack Igboho's house. You are silent. They kill people in the Igboho's house. You are silent. They attack the Odudua protesters. You are silent. Wait. They are coming for you. It's not going to take too long. They are coming for you, and as you're silent, you are going to die in silence because nobody's going to speak to you. So long you are not speaking up for others, when it comes to your turn, nobody's going to speak. That is it. That is it, the law of karma. As you are silent on your own day, you will be in your grave and nobody's going to speak about you. That is more reason why you should begin to speak up. Anybody that is meaning well in that very country of Nigeria, it doesn't matter where you are. If from the middle belt, from any part of southern part of Nigeria, from the middle belt, or even from the north, and you have conscience, even if you're in the northern part of Nigeria and you have conscience, you know that what is happening is not good, speak up. Speak up. It is better die speaking than to die in silence. If you're from the northern part of Nigeria, you know what is right, speak up. Nothing will happen to you. It is better you free your conscience and even die with dignity than for you to die in silence in your shame and in your disgrace. So everybody should add their own voice. It is not time to be silent. If you have been silent for a very long time, this is the time to speak up. Your silence doesn't mean love. It means hate and wickedness. It is only when you speak up that we know that you are sharing love. Say it the way it is. Say it exactly how it happened in your own opinion. That is what we are advocating for. We are not preaching against hate. We are not preaching hate against anybody. We are not giving hate speech against anybody. What we are saying is the right thing should be done. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu has to be freed without any condition attached to it. He deserves his freedom and he should be freed with immediate effect. May Chukwu Abiyama protect Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. May Chukwu Abiyama protect Sunday Igboho. Strengthen him wherever he is. May Chukwu Abiyama protect all those who are fighting for Biafra and Odudua. May Chukwu Abiyama protect all those who are fighting for their freedom in any part of that country from called Nigeria. May Chukwu Abiyama grant all of us victory. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu will join us very soon. Chukwu Abiyama have assured us of his good health, his strength, even more power, even more knowledge. Very soon he will join us. Thank you so much for watching wherever you are watching from, and remain blessed. Bye bye. See you again in the next video.